present here. I take immense pleasure in welcoming all of you present here to the International Faculty Development Program organized by the Department of IT, Ishwari Engineering College. I also welcome our speaker for the day, Dr. Anand Nair. Sir, thank you for being present here, sir. And I now welcome our HOD to present the welcome address.
Yeah, very good morning to another present here. I'm Dr. Anandi, Head of Department of Information Technology. On behalf of Ishwari Engineering College Management, Principal, and on behalf of Department of Information Technology, dear participants, we welcome you all for the 8 days International Faculty Development Program on Internet of Things. And I welcome my students and my faculty members for this FDP. And today's speaker, Dr. Anand Nair, sir. So he is such an eminent speaker. I have attended his workshop, and the entire session was very contentful, resourceful. Dear participants, today you are going to have a very, very wonderful session. You never forget this session. Such an amazing person he is. That's why I'm again and again saying. We welcome Anand Nair, sir. Thank you so much for accepting our invite for 2 days. Thank you so much. And we had a very overwhelming response. So we are having around 700 participants today. And that's why we have made it as YouTube live. Due to non-availability of this tool, that much facility, we have done it live. And also, if you are having any doubts during the session, you can comment in the chat box in the YouTube stream. So that will answer. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, ma'am, can you do one thing? Please kindly put the YouTube channel link right now on the chat so that I can open that YouTube link on my computer. And if there is any question, I will open that chat box after and I will answer the questions there.
Yes, Balaji sir, kindly do so. Here in chat box itself, do sir, Balaji sir.
In the chat box, sir. No. Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Sure. Okay, so many people have joined already.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I now welcome Kanaga Subraja, sir, to present the profile of the speaker.
Good morning to all. I am pleased to introduce our respected speaker of the day, Dr. Anand Nair. Dr. Anand Nair is an academician, a researcher, author, writer, inventor, innovator, scientist, consultant, and orator. He is currently working as a professor, scientist, and researcher in Graduate School, Dayton University, Vietnam. He is a certified professional with more than 75 international and globally recognized professional certification from various IT giants like Cisco, Cybero, Microsoft, and Oracle. He has published more than 300 research papers and 22 books. He is acting as the editor-in-chief for the International Journal of Smart Vehicles and Smart Transportation. He has two patents to his credit in the area of speech processing and Internet of Things. He is a senior member of ACM and he is an ACM distinguished speaker. He has received more than 20 national awards for teaching, research, innovation, and scientist activities. He has created more than 250 videos on his YouTube channel, Gyan with Anand Nair. He is currently working in the area of wireless sensor network, cloud computing, cyber security, machine learning, smart cities, and drones, blockchain technology. We are very much honored to have such a wonderful personality with here. Now I welcome our speaker, Dr. Anand Nair, to take over the session. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, all the participants. I welcome you all to this faculty development program in which I will be talking on two important topics. So before I start with my presentation, let me first of all introduce myself. Sir, can you able to see my slide?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I welcome you all on this presentation. So let me start with my introduction and agenda, and then we will be covering towards the today's session. And I will be telling you what we'll be covering today and tomorrow, first of all. And even I will be also opening up some of the opportunities that how people can collaborate with me. So first of all, here are some glimpses of my life. You can see this is my photograph of Dev Day Da Nang. This is one of the most prestigious events that you can see in Vietnam. And last year, I presented my research in the area for sensor communications, IoT and LoRaWAN, and my lecture got the Best Lecture Award. So in the history of 25 years of my university, Dutan University, I'm the first foreigner who has been awarded by Outstanding Researcher Award last year, and even I'm expecting 2 or 3 awards more from my university this year. This is my photograph with the event of Google I/O. Even we have Google Vietnam, so I'm also one of the speakers with the Google I/O event. And last year I opened my lecture with regard to speech processing as well as Google Machine Learning Kit. So I'm acting as a conference chairman for ICIT, that is International Conference for Intelligent Information Technologies 2020, which this year has been happening with a collaboration with the RMIT Vietnam. And all the papers are indexed in ISI Web of Science, Scopus and DBLP. And next year, again, I'm organizing this conference in Ho Chi Minh City. So you are all welcome. So all the papers will be Scopus and even ISI Web of Science indexed. And this is one of my invention that you can see. It's an owl, and this owl is known as a smart owl because this owl can even have the live temperature and moisture based readings. You can control this owl with just an app, and even you can control this with your smart homes, etc. And even this owl can even detect the movements in the house, and even it can switch on and switch off the lights. Even it can take care for your security measurements and many, many more. So this is connected to today's lecture. You can see in Vietnam, we also have a flying club also. So I'm one of them. You can see this is my plane, which I have actually designed. And this is also the 2 or 3 planes with one of the people which are already the pilots over here in Vietnam. So let me introduce myself. First of all, I'm working as professor, researcher and scientist in Graduate School, Dutan University. I'm a PhD in computer science in the area for sensor, swarm intelligence and network simulation with 16 plus years of teaching and research experience, including consultancy for cybersecurity, cloud computing, blockchain, e-health services, and even smart cities based projects. Specialized in WSN, managed swarm intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, cloud computing, big data, IoT, cybersecurity, blockchain, smart cities, brain computing, network simulation. I'm working on almost every area in the world. I have published 425 research papers. Now almost 68 papers are in SCA journals, and I'm expecting to get my 100 SCA papers by the end of October this year itself, with 50 plus articles in open source for you, 25 books, 75 plus certifications in terms of IT organizations like Google, Microsoft, BAQM, Cisco, everything. So 1500 plus citations in Google Scholar with H-index of 20 and I-index of 52 as of today. Member of 90 plus organizations, including senior member for IEEE and ACM, and even I am the ACM distinguished speaker, only one and the first one in Vietnam. And apart from it, I'm even running my own journal with IGI Global, that is International Journal of Smart Vehicles and Smart Transportation, IGSVST. So now the volume 3 with issue 2 has been launched, and next year I'm expecting to get this indexing into Scopus as well as DBLP now. Associated with more than 500 conferences, and soon I'm going to have my own 3 conferences as publication chair. So you are most welcome to join my conferences as a technical program committee member and reviewer, and you can have good roles. If you can, if you are interested, you are most welcome to collaborate. So I've delivered more than 200 invited talks in 8 countries, and I've delivered 50 plus keynote talks in 100 plus faculty development programs, and webinars are more than now almost touching 120, 125. I'm a certified drone pilot with 2 inventions, 3 patents and 15 copyrights. And considering my teaching and research, I have been awarded 26 awards for my teaching and research. So let us start the lecture with some motivation. So I believe in the 3 mottos of my life, and I believe that all of you will be getting some better information that how you can divert your life and how you can direct your life into well-being. Knowledge for a better world. We are all academicians, and academicians never retire. So I believe that even today, even though I've completed my PhD 3.5 years back, but still I am working and I'm doing my course. I'm learning new things, because the technology that is about 10 years back, it is not the technology of today. And even the technology of today will not survive after 3 or 4 years tomorrow. So you have to keep yourselves updated. So there was a time when companies used to work in only C, C++ and Java, but nowadays there are more than 40 plus languages, and you have to divert yourself. You have to update yourself in doing that. So the second thing is, if you're stuck in some problem and no one is supporting you, the most important thing is to relax, because God wants you to learn many, many things. And that is the main thing, everybody. For PhD students also, be your first guide and then ask other person for your help. So my suggestion would be the third, that is, don't be afraid from challenges hardships because we are computer science people, and computer science was actually meant to solve the problems. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving towards smart world. We are moving towards industry 4.0, intelligent communications, smart transportation systems. It is only because of computer science, electronics, and fusion of various other technologies. And we people are special because why? We solve computers, and computers were actually designed to solve complex problems. So we should not be afraid of any hardships and challenges. We keep on doing and we keep on learning. Now, if you want to collaborate with me in terms of research, so there are the two types of opportunities. So if you are an MTech student only with electronics, IT or computer science, you can send me your proposal of research in the area for these areas like cloud computing, sensors, swarm intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, even big data, smart cities, blockchain. You are most welcome. And depending on your qualification, like first class masters with 5 Scopus paper or 2 SCA papers, I will be giving a chance to you that, okay, you can come and join me and you can work with me. So even if you are a PhD in computer science and you are looking for an opportunity for doing your postdoc with me, so I'm having 2 seats available. One is in cloud computing and second is into 5G communications. So in cloud computing, me and my students, and even on the terms of LoRaWAN, which I will be telling you tomorrow, lots of surprises will be there tomorrow. They are working. So for that, you need to have an eligibility for PhD in computer science with 10 SCA papers, minimum 10, with strong teaching and research proposal and willing to work 24/7. And this is the advertisement of my university for postdoc fellow. And if you are interested, do send me your profile to me with your teaching and research statement. Let me see what I can support you for the best. Now, in order to apply with me for the research collaborations or any other types of activities, I'm most interested for collaborated because I'm very open man for collaboration. So with your brief biodata along with your detailed resume, and please focus only on your SCA papers. And after that, you can focus on your Scopus and then with only Springer and ACM conferences. We don't look towards IEEE conferences. List of top 10 publications, at least with the H-index and I-index, and willing to have a passion to work 24/7 with an open mind to solve the problems and think like a sky. So the agenda for today will be Internet of Drone Things, which is one of the conceptual methodology. I actually coined it. And the second day will be LoRaWAN. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many people are listening to me via this YouTube video. I'm going to promise you one thing, just promise to you one thing, that today and tomorrow, especially tomorrow, when I'm going to give you the lecture of LoRaWAN, I'm openly saying to all of you that this is going to be the powerful lecture in the history of your career. And even it will be the most powerful lecture in the future of your well-being in your career for academician. So do listen to this lecture tomorrow, because I have lots of surprises tomorrow, and I'm going to open the LoRaWAN technology like nothing before has happened. So you will become the master of LoRaWAN tomorrow. So these are the most important things that I discuss with every lecture. And before I start my lecture, this is very important for you to understand. The 7 important pillars, according to me, to be an effective researcher. The first important thing, have a creative thinking. Don't think that, okay, let us write a chapter, let us write a paper. Make it, even though the concept is not new, but make it so creative that it looks like new. So creative thinking. And the second important thing is have a sky high thinking and just say nothing is impossible. Because why? Because if you're writing the paper, you're not writing for today, you're writing for the future, that the future people will read that. So have a sky high thinking. Second thing, most important, be informed and be aware of everything. There is a difference between information and awareness. Information means that you can gather the information from any place, that whether it's a mobile app, YouTube, or your friends, but be informed. That, okay, this is going to happen. Okay, this we can improve. And research is a rat race. If you are number 1, you are going to be number 1. Your papers will be getting high citations and everything. But if you're not number 1, you're not among the race. Let me tell you, either publish or either perish. Have strong networking with your fields, with everybody. Have in touch with them. Prove them that you are the best person. And everybody will respond to you. Keep an eye on all the things are coming up and be the first one to take the challenge. So challenge yourself. Am I the first one to write this paper? Am I going to be the first one that is writing the such much effective chapter that I can get more than 100 citations in less than 3 months? So ask yourself these questions. Are you satisfied with your performance? Because you are the best judge of yourselves. Have strong hold on English and communication skills. Let me tell you frankly, I daily get more than 30 to 40 collaborative emails, or maybe 2 or 3 papers almost a week for collaborations. But let me tell you, sometimes we find lots of problems. I'm not able to understand what the person wants to communicate in the email and even what the person wants to communicate in the research paper. So have a particular communication English and a particular channel in order to stabilize your collaboration, then you can become an effective researcher. And second last thing which I would like to give you, keep on learning, because I've already told you learning never stops. You can just acquire some education till the college, but the knowledge and learning only ends after your life. So till you are not dead, you are going to learn, you are going to have new knowledge. So keep on doing that. And most important, everybody, you will all agree with me. Teachers retire, army men can retire, government people can retire, but the researchers and scientists, they never retire. And I believe in one motto: if you are tired, you are retired. So I challenge myself that I should not be tired. I should be working 24 hours, because if I'm tired, I'm gone. I'm gone from my field. So always challenge yourself in order to work better, better, and better. So it doesn't matter, most important, it doesn't matter where you start. The only thing is you start the goal. And let us begin the journey for today. And now I will first of all demonstrate you with the power of Internet of Drone Things. That is going to be the topic for today, the topic for discussion. So as we all know, this is Internet of Drone Things. And again, it's a part of Internet of Things. How I coined it, actually, I am the person who actually have written the paper. And even my paper has 2 case studies. And even maybe it is the most advanced paper in the terms of IoT, drone technology, and even fusion of other technologies, which I will be covering in the later part of this lecture today. But I'm going to promise you one thing, everybody, that in this world of pandemic that we are happening in India and across the world, you will be agreeing with me that drones are the only eyes of yours in the city. What is happening? And even the government and even the other officials, they are actually pointing with the drones that is happening. Consider Kedarnath, that happened about 3 or 4 years back, and people were lost and they were not able to pinpoint the locations. Army men were searching and helicopters were doing the patrolling. And after that, the students from IIT go there and they have the drones and they were able to locate the pinpoint location of the people, and they were able to survive only with the power of drones. So you can say that now with this conceptual methodology, let us take this lecture to the next level, in which let us improve the drone technology to the next level, in which we can even fly the drones even in rural areas, and even we can have the smart communication with satellite communication with cloud computing as the back part. So it is going to be the drone technology today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And after that, after the session, I will be going towards YouTube channel so that you can all put your questions. Please put your questions over there. And if there is any question which is unanswered, so please put me on the email, but I will try to give answers to every questions today. And I will not close the channel close the lecture unless or until all the questions are answered. So let's start the journey now. So let me first of all quickly go over there. Now let me tell you first of all my contributions to drones. So you can see these are the research papers that are effectively published in the world of drones by my side. This is Internet of Drone Things, Future and Vision of Drones. This is the main paper. And even if, let me tell you, I'm going to give you this demonstration right now. Now, if you go to Google, you just type Google, and if you type Internet of Drones, so you can say this is the first paper in the world that comes to you. So this is my first drone, and you will be surprised to know that actually major universities in the world, they actually use my research paper in order to use them for the research. So this is the #1 paper in the world right now as per Google. So the second thing which you can see, again, it's the most prominent paper for you, is agriculture drones, a major precision in precision agriculture. In the later part of the section, I will be telling you that today, even though it is disasters or other smart cities, but agriculture is one of the areas that is actually going to use drones, and drones are going to bless agriculture like anything else. And even this is the latest paper that has been published, bold, with bio-inspired optimized leader selection for multiple drones. It's a very good paper in SCA journal, Sensor Journal, with 3.3 impact factor. Very effective paper. And this is again one of the paper which is in a strong journal of Elsevier, that is computer communications, smart traffic monitoring system using unmanned aerial vehicles. This is one of the prominent papers that you can see. And again, this is one of the biggest chapter that I have written, emerging use of UAVs, secure communication protocol, issues and challenges. Again, it is with Elsevier. And soon, ladies and gentlemen, almost we are on the next part to submit the book in Springer. The world's first book, I'm saying the world's first book, Internet of Drones, submitted, and even it is coming soon by October 2020. 27 chapters are selected, and the top grade book will be available, and the book will be Scopus and SCIE indexed. So this is just my contributions, and even soon with journals like Vehicular Communications, Industrial Informatics, and other 2-3 transaction journals, I'm soon going to expect my expectance. So you can say by the end of next month, I will be having my 10 SCA papers in the area for drones. This is right now the handsome number in the contribution of drones by me. So the agenda for today will be, let's first of all understand how drones actually evolved in the real world. What is the historical coverage of drones, so that you should understand some deep facts of flights, and even today what other countries are doing. Gone were the days, everybody, that only militaries are going to fight, or air force or naval vessels will be there. But in the near future, drones will be also regarded as one of the important vessels, or even the most important weapons for the modern cyber warfare. So let us understand, and even let me tell you very openly, like China, consider Israel, they all have military fleet with drones, even though Indian Army has, but Indian Army needs to upgrade it to better, because China is now using underwater drones also. Some people are using swarm intelligence for collaborative works. So many things and many activities are elaborated, and I will be telling you some of the research areas also, that you can write some good papers with me. So after that, we will be having some comprehensive coverage to drones, the drones technology. All the information is towards latest and future oriented. Everything is latest today. And after, I will be telling you the conceptual methodology that I actually designed is known as Internet of Drone Things. So totally latest, total new information for all of you. So please enjoy the information. So let us talk with, first of all, history and origin of flights and the seeds of drones. So let me tell you, drones is not a new word. The age of drones has actually started when flights actually started. But the only thing is, today we have different types of forms by various companies like Overtel, DJI, or even like Parrot Systems. So all these companies have made different types of drones. But even we are going to welcome drone taxis or even drone ambulances by the next 2-3 years. But history, we should understand that what actually laid and these terminologies, and I will be giving you some general sense also that will lead to your knowledge in order to apply this, that how drones technology actually evolved till today. So see this, everybody. We have the first image, and all the images that I'm going to show you right now in this presentation, they are almost very rare. I can say very difficult to find. I have taken lots of time and pain in order to get these photos on a single head. You can see over here the Austrian balloon bombs of 1849. So these were the first flying drones that were actually flying, and they were able to understand and they were able to monitor the enemy regions. So 1849 was the first region when actually the drones and even the flight technology, they actually started working. And you can see the Kittenberg, this was the first unmanned aircraft which was actually designed in World War I. Basically, it was the today's, you can say, UAV, the unmanned aerial vehicle. Okay, I will be explaining everything to you. So you can say this was the plane that was actually being developed by Germany, and this was used in World War I, and this was actually carrying the torpedoes in order to bomb the enemy areas. So 1849 and the World War I, that was basically the foundations that laid the drones in order to improve and become better and better like today. So World War I was the game changer, and we have, you can say, the widespread adoption of these type of vehicles and these type of flying vehicles. I can say huge technological advances have happened, and the open aspect is we have clear capabilities. Even today, ladies and gentlemen, no doubt we find that drones applications are increasing in military, smart cities, agriculture, film, entertainment. But still, this area needs to be worked out in a better manner. Still, the research and the implementation needs to be enhanced, because still I'm saying, if you talk of me as a scientist, I'm saying you still drones technology requires 3 or 4 years more to become the part and parcel of the ordinary man. Yes, it requires 3 or 4 years more. So you can say that the next 3 or 4 years are very crucial for this drone technology to get advanced. So the first power flight, you can see, it was only in 1903 by Alvin Wright and Wilbur Wright, and it was with Wright brothers. It was only for 12 seconds, and it was only till 120 feet. But the issues were performance and control. Okay, so performance was not there because it flight for only 12 seconds, and control because they were autonomous. And even, let me tell you, the Alvin Wright and Wilbur Wright, they actually designed the first drone actually. They didn't design the aircraft, they actually designed a drone that was autonomous, that was actually flying without a pilot. So the first unmanned aircraft, you can say, this was again from Germany, you can say Havelitz-Sperry aerial torpedo and the Kittenbenberg in 1917 to 1980. Actually, this was where I'm pointing the mouse right now. This is the first drone, everybody. And actually the first drone and unmanned aircraft was actually applied by military. And after that, it becomes commercial. Okay, like we can say internet. When internet was designed by ARPA, so it was again by Department of Defense only. So it was only for military communication. But after that, it became the commercial network for us. So again, the issues happened was performance and control. So now this is my most important question for all of you. And many people will say openly, which country was the first to use the aircraft? We all know, like people will say China, maybe USA, or maybe Germany, maybe France. And maybe Russia, because these days, these countries are doing lots of things in terms of modern aircraft vehicles as well as modern technologies. But you're wrong, everybody. The first route of the aircrafts in the world that was laid by Italy. So Italy was the first country to use the aircraft, and even the starting foundation of the research happened in Italy in 1911. So if you talk of the modern era aircrafts, the drones, etc., everything, it actually started from Italy. Very few people know about it. So this was a technological evolution that actually from engine-less planes, we have gone to engine planes. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that aircraft before it, the first aircraft that was designed, that was not having any pilot-based pilot licenses or pilots were there, but they were all like drones. But the issues were performance and control. But with the more modern technologies by Boeing, like Dassault Aviation or Airbus, these companies are making this technology to evolve. So you can say that when passenger planes started, it was again having issues, but now we know Boeing jets, we know the jumbo jets, we even have the supersonic jets today. So the defects of aviation, you can see the Eddie's surveillance kite. This was again, you can say in 1898. I have shown you the balloon. So actually this was the first wartime aerial surveillance photo. This is a very rare photo of Eddie's surveillance kite. So it was known as a kite even. In 1910s and 1920s, Tesla described unmanned aerial combat vehicles. You can see even that even during World War I, these unmanned flight vehicles and even the drones, they actually coined. So basically, if you talk of today, we use the word drones, but actually it was unmanned aerial vehicle at that time. Because why? It is an aerial vehicle, but it is not used, it was not controlled by any pilot. So that's why we say it as an unmanned aerial vehicle. So after that, we have the Sperry aerial torpedo in 1916 to 18, and we have the Ray Larks, which was by UK, and even UK was one of the foremost countries that actually produced the engine-oriented planes with 200 horsepower, top speed, and even they can carry 113 kgs of warheads. So the basic foundation for the planes was actually to go for military surveillance and bombard the enemy territories. So in 1930 and 1940s, you can see missiles and rockets like V1 and V2 rockets. You can see this was the first rocket that was actually correlated to modern cruise missiles. But today, as we all know, the modern cruise missile is only with USA, that is Tomahawk. But after that, after USA, we have that is Agni missiles. So still India needs to improve better in terms of rocket as well as missile technology. In 1950s and 1960s, you can see USA became dominant player in this world with the AQM-34. Okay, and even I'm going to show you the modern era. 1970s, 1980s, again it was USA with Freebie 1241, which is again purchased from Israel, and they were actually known as for reconnaissance, for decoys, and even not much used as for drones. But 1990s, let me tell you today, everybody, this drone that you can see right now, it is the most advanced drone, even advanced from China air fleet. This is called Predator. So this is actually the drone which is the most modern, and even it can carry, now it can even carry, you can say in the next coming 5 to 7 years, it can even carry a nuclear warhead. So these things become better and better. So today's manned aviation, you can see we have got the improvements in terms of performance, control, efficiency, and comfort. We all know Etihad Airlines. We all know Dubai Airlines. We all know China Airlines, Indian Airlines, like UK Airlines, German Airlines. So they are all improving. Even the number one airlines is from Singapore only. Singapore is the number one airport. So in terms of efficiency, control, performance, everything has got better. Maybe in the near future, we will be seeing that, as you all know, because of this pandemic, the flights are grounded and all the pilots are getting their jobs lost. But in the near future, after 3 or 5 years, these robotic controls artificial intelligence will be taking control of the flights. The day is not very far, everybody. So now let us talk of something of drones that are known as the groundbreaking systems. So if anybody asks me, sir, which is the company which you will rate as number one for drones, no doubt it is DJI. But in the near future, there are more other companies that I will be telling you after this lecture that you can see, and you will see the websites also. You can see that these drones today not only carry the cameras, but they have the smart sensors, and many other things are possible with these type of drones. And even the drones are not limited to drones only. Like you can see, these drones are used by photographers, even by some people for entertainment, even for videos, films, or other photography. So these type of quadcopters, if you are into hobby like this one, so if you are in India, I would like to recommend you this website called Jack Hobbies. So this is one of the best companies if you are interested, and it is in Hyderabad. So if you are interested to buy this type of planes, they are most interested and they can buy from Jack Hobbies. Even I'm using these type of technology for flying the planes. I'm having RC technology over here. So these type of planes have the fixed wings, and these are the primary planes that can be used by children or even the mature people like you, that you can have it as a hobby. But now the drones today, everybody, because it is mostly used by military surveillance. We all know the movie called Uri, in which we have the drone called Garud, okay, which is also like Vishnu Puran. So this Garud is now depicting the real-time birds. So that's the future, everybody, because drones want to become smaller, they want to become sharper and efficient. So you can say Predator right now is one of the most efficient drone, and even Nano Hummingbird. So even if you go to like lots of things like drones lectures, you will see lots of good people, lots of good companies. They are even using artificial intelligence, and they are even understanding the law of physics, and they are putting those laws of physics with control theory and applying them with some mathematical models. And with that mathematical models, they're applying some complex algorithms in order to make them stable, in order to make them play with you, in order to detect the maps, everything. So these type of drones are getting better and better. So maybe in the near future, these drones will be having some self-optimization, self-learning, and even in the near future, because I'm the area for this field, that is swarm intelligence. So how the drones can cooperate with each other and how they can make the lives better. So now let us talk some comprehensive coverage to drones. So unmanned aerial systems. So first of all, the most important thing is unmanned aerial systems, which you can see right now. These type of drones can even fit RED-based cameras, and even these drones can be flight as a hobby. So unmanned aerial systems means those drones or any flying machine that can fly. So not only drones, aerial means any system that can fly, even your toy helicopters. So which are unmanned, which means no pilot is required, and you can even control them with your apps and even your you can say remote control. I will be telling you in the in coming slides what are the components for the drones. So you can see the global drone market right now. I'm just giving you the data by 2022. So by 2022, you can see that this drones market can even touch $1,000 million. So the potential is very high, and you can see the areas right now: agriculture, energy, government, media, and entertainment. And you can see today, you will agree with me, which Bollywood movie or which Hollywood movie these days, or even other movies like Chinese movies or Korean movies, which are having not even a single scene today without drones. So if you see the common fights today, you see what of Netflix movies today, they all are using drones. And you can see from 2013, the market of drones is booming with civilian market also, but in the near future, it will become 50-50. So right now, drones market is mostly controlled with the military only, but civilian drones, they are improving. So you can see that 16.9% growth rate has been observed from 2014 to 2022. But by 2023 onwards, ladies and gentlemen, the drones will not be controlled from you. You just have to fly the drone, and drones can do the work autonomously by the power of natural language processing. So what is a drone, everybody? It is a powered aerial vehicle. Powered aerial vehicle means that either it can be battery powered, or either you can use some, you can say petrol or maybe some flight oils that can be used to power them, but mostly we use batteries. So no human operator on board, can fly autonomously, which means today, if you see of lots of the research that is going from USA universities, the drones just fly and they just sense the map as the power of computer vision, and they can sense the area, what are the obstacles, and they can do their decisions autonomously. Can be expandable and can be recoverable. And even I've already shown you with the Predator drone, they can even carry a lethal and non-lethal payload. So even in the future, they can even be used to carry the ambulance. Today, even we know Amazon company, which is using drones to give you the shopping parcels, and even drones can be used for flight taxis also. So the potential is unlimited. So drone can be regarded as unmanned aircraft system. So we should not be telling about unmanned aerial system. It can be regarded as unmanned aircraft system that can be remotely controlled and can fly without the people. So you just need you can say a remote control or either your mobile app, and you can able to do the operations. And even these days, with the power of machine learning and object detection, you just have to detect yourself, and after that you can just roam. The drone will take the 360-degree view. You can have many things like anything. So the drone technology has changed from the last 3 years like it was never before. So why we fly drones? We require aerial photography, digital archaeology, environmental analysis, gas mapping, film multimedia, law enforcement, drone racing. You can say lots of activities they can be covered. So these days, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that drones have potential even not only for military, but they have the potential for many things. I will be showing you the case studies. I am working on 2 areas of drones. One is agriculture and one is smart cities. But soon I would like to involve myself in terms of autonomous drone racing as well as for hospital-based aid for patients, for live patient taxis. So where did the word drone came from? The question again, I'm telling you, this again came from this aircraft. This is one of the most important aircraft by UK Gypsy Moth. So Gypsy Moth was actually the drone in which you can say in 1935, they put the radio controlled system. So today, if you use the RC plane, they have the RC based communication, radio control signal communication, but even you can use Wi-Fi also, but RC control plane system is requiring you better things. But tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you the lecture of LoRaWAN. So let me tell you, these planes in the near future, maybe after 2 years, they will be equipped with LoRaWAN technology. So target drone Denny 1, this was again one of the most important drone that can act as an actor and radio control system, and it was basically used by Navy. And the first Instan drones was actually known as remotely piloted vehicle. So RPV, that is also known as another definition of drone. So what are the other names of drones? Today we know that it is not only drone, we can classify them into like these things. We started with Kittenberg in 1918, radio plane in which there was a radio which is fitted up and it was being controlled from the remote controlled station at the ground. We have the other names in terms of quadcopter, multicopter and hexicopters. So depending on the number of wings, I will be telling you the detailed anatomy after a few minutes. So if the more number of wings, you can say that you can have quadcopter, multicopter and hexicopter. So today's modern drones, if you're having a budget and you want to buy a DJI drone, I only recommend to buy a DJI drone at your home if you have the budget of 30, 40 or 50,000. So how many propellers are there? Like 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 15, 18, 20, 30. So depending on the propellers, you can coin the names, and you can even have octocopter and hexacopter. So more octo, hexo, they get connected, which means you require better hold on the aircraft, and I can control up to octocopter. Yes, I'm a certified drone pilot, so I can control up to octocopter, but not into hexacopter. For that, I need more sorties, and maybe after 2 years, I will be a professional trained pilot for that drone. So what are the other names of drones? You can see unmanned aircraft vehicle. That was the first name. After that, we have unmanned aerial system, and even it is also known as remotely piloted aircraft system, and UAS, unmanned aircraft aerial system. That is one of the best nomenclature named by USA as per FAA. So classification of drones, you can see we have the model aircraft, which you can see of today as a toys, and even small unmanned aircraft that you can buy, like a small plane by 6,000 or 15,000 rupees. I've already told you the website of Jack Hobbies. And we have the unmanned aircraft, which is either can be used by you if you are a very professional pilot and you are certified, because you have to take the lessons. And it can be even used by military also. But at the last but not the least, we have the aircrafts like fighter planes or the commercial planes or even the aviation planes. So all these type of planes. So classification of drones, you can see the small unmanned aircraft system can be less than 55 lbs and micro can be less than 4.4 lbs. Like I've shown you, that is the hummingbird bird, that is very small, and even the Garud, that can be up to 55 lbs. And even the drone racing can be possible and classified by size. So we have the different types of classes. So most important class is for you, multi-rotor class, that is 250 class, very basic, and micro multi-rotor class, again, okay, 180 class. So if you want to buy a drone for you, you can go for 180 or 250 class that doesn't require any declaration from the government, but you have to make it sure that you have norms, because in India, flying the drone to government stations or near the airports, it is totally banned, because in Vietnam also we have restrictions to fly the drone. We fly the drones away from the city. So how long the drones can fly, I will be covering you this thing in the more aspect, that is a research aspect. So you can say the most important challenge today is the battery problem. Yes, everybody, it is a battery problem, because if you take, even if you buy the most expensive drone today, don't expect that the drone can even fly for more than 24 to 26 minutes. I have not seen, but if any company claim 30 or 35 minutes, maybe they are claiming, but 25 to 24 minutes, that's maximum, not even 30 minutes. Because propellers and even your blades and even your sensors, camera, everything is on board. So everything is using the battery. So many components are using the same battery, like lithium ion battery. So that's the reason battery is a bigger issue in terms of drones. So what do you need to know about drones? Let us talk about the most important aspect for today. Many people ask me, sir, we want to make a drone and we want to make a project on drone, what we should do? So let me tell you, if you go to Amazon, or if you're living in Delhi, you can even go to Gafar market. You can even go to Mumbai based markets like technology or electronics market are there in Bangalore and Hyderabad also. You can buy the kits, even they're having the DIY kits, even you can buy it online, do it yourself. You can even make your own drone, or otherwise all the components which I'm going to show you right now are already available on Amazon, and even like RS components, you can order them online. And there is another question to me. Many people ask me how much cost will be there in terms to make a drone. So that depends what type of features and applications you are working. If you are working for a hobby, you can even make a drone in less than 2,000 to 3,000 rupees. If you want to go for like some capturing with camera, you want to put some sensors, so between 7,000 to 10,000 rupees. But if you want to make like for machine learning, for object detection, autonomous based capabilities, then 15 to 20,000 rupees can be your budget, because more features means more investment and more technologies and more hardware that you need to buy. So now listen to this lecture carefully. This is known as a quadcopter anatomy. Now let me tell you, most important, everybody, that can make the drone up, down, left and right. It is all because of these props. Like we have wings in aircraft, these are the props. And this is the one, everybody, many people ask me that, sir, what is the main consumption of battery by the drone? This is not from your camera. Camera is okay. But the most important consumption is these motors, because these motors, like these are called the battery loggers, I can say. So they are the most important consumption of the battery, because they are actually flying and they are actually controlling the drone. So we have the airframe in order to have some aerodynamics looks to the frame. We have the camera. Today we all know, if you buy a DJI drone, DJI Mavic Pro or Mavic Pro 2 or DJI Mavic Mini, which is there, you can have HD drone minimum capabilities there. So if you want to buy a drone today, please don't look a drone even with HD capability. Minimum buy for 2K and better it is 4K. No doubt it will be expensive, but it will give you better coverage. So we have the receiver. So if you have a Wi-Fi at your mobile phone, if you want to give some instructions like up, down, it is the receiver. So mostly we use our controller. So that is the receiver that is going to receive the input and it is going to give the output for that. Again, we have the camera gimbal. It depends what type of camera, what type of drone you want to have. And this is where we have the electronic speed. I will be telling you more anatomy over there. So let us talk of the anatomy. So these are the components that you have to buy in order to make a drone. And all these components, ladies and gentlemen, are available on Amazon.in. You can just search these components and even you can buy it, order online. So depending on your budget, you can order that. So these are the props, everybody. These are the two types of props. Please understand. One is known as the pusher. One is known as the puller. So pusher rotate in opposite direction. Okay, like, okay, if you're going for like north and south, which direction you're going, and puller, they allow for the flight, which height, how much height. Okay, so if you go for left, right, up and down, north, south, east, west, it is by pusher. But how much height, how much down, it is by the puller. So that's the reason, everybody, these props are actually known as the blades, like the wings in the aircraft. And these are the motors, everybody, most important. So if you are starting as a pilot, as a starting pilot, you can go for brushed because they are very cheaper and they are good and they are ready to control. But if you are an experienced pilot, you have better experience now because my plane has a brushless motor. So you can have higher quality and complications because they are very difficult to configure. So if you are a starting pilot, please go with brushed, and after some experience, you can go for brushless. But brushless motors, they're expensive. Brushed motors, cheaper. So this is known as an electronic speed controller. You can say that when you fly the drone, you can say it gives you the speed like, okay, 30 miles per hour, 40 miles per hour. This is known as the electronic speed controller. So if you want to make an app to be better for you, you can buy this, but this is an optional component if you are making your own drone. So this is, again, let me tell you everybody, if you have the autopilot, like, okay, please go up, please follow me, or please, if you can take a photo, panoramic view. So all these controllers that in which the drone automatically flies, you don't have to control the drone. It is known as a flight controller. Like in the plane, we have the autopilot, like, okay, pilot is sitting relaxed, but it doesn't happen. The computer can fly the plane. So with this flight controller, we have these autonomous capabilities, and these flight controllers have the deep learning technology today. So if you ask me today, sir, where deep learning is actually applied, where object detection is applied, it is on this type of controller, because this controller actually gives the drone the capability to fly and do other things. And this is the airframe, which is actually hosting the electronics, motors, and arms. So everything you can set, you can say in computer cabinet, like you buy the computer cabinet, in that you fit the motherboard, the RAM, everything. So this is the airframe in which every assembly, like your sensors, receiver, your other props, landing gears, everything is fitted on this airframe. And we have this battery pack. This is the problem, everybody. This is the big problem, because even we have the lithium polymer batteries, but still the flight time is only 24 to 25 minutes. So this area requires lots of things to be changed. And this is the camera gimbal. You can even add your own camera. You can buy any 4K camera from the market. Even cheap Chinese camera are coming. Even you can add GoPro. Okay, so GoPro is having GoPro 5, GoPro 7, GoPro 8 is coming. So GoPro 8 can also be fitted. Even GoPro also has the accessory to add this into the drone. So after that, we have the landing struts. Like if you land the plane with the vehicles, we have the landing struts, the legs. And this is the front indicator with the lights. And this is the first person video camera, which means your app that can even see from the camera, and you can take the photos and you can even capture the videos on 2K, HD, 4K, 8K also. And this is the receiver, everybody. This is going to give the users instructions to the flight controller. Go up, go down. So you can see the review right now. So the batteries are the most expensive component after the motors. So battery can even cost you $150. So if you're buying a DJI Mavic, so I'm giving you the answer. So please buy it in a full pack, which can give you more batteries, because one battery can even give you the flight of around 18 to 22 minutes. Otherwise, if you don't have the separate battery, you just have to charge the battery for 2 hours. After that, it can give you only 20 minutes flight time. So battery is a bigger problem. So motors, you can see. Flight controller, this is the most important. I'm going to show you about $300. What I'm using is very expensive. It is about costing me $225. And we have the camera gimbal, what you have to want to install in terms of camera. So inner electronics, this is the brain of the drone, everybody. This is known as the inner electronic microcontroller, and this is going to give you the radio stations and everything. And this is the inertial measurement unit necessary for autonomous flight. And today, like we have the accelerometer, gyroscope, compass, whatever it is, like in our smartphones, this is the main thing, IMU unit. And this is where we can have the, you can say the landing or the position of the location and time. This is the GPS chip. You can see this one. But today these GPS chips are getting embedded inside the microcontroller. So the technologies are getting advanced. And this is where you can find that which height it is there and where it is heading, like north, south, east, and west. Take 360 degree. This is the flight. And this is the controller, everybody, because if you buy the DJI controller, I'm using one other company. I'm sorry, I cannot tell you about that. So that is the controller that can even fly any drone and even airplane. So I'm sorry, I cannot give you my secret. So this is just the controller that I use in order to fly my drone and even my aircrafts also. So this is the pilot in command. You are the person who actually takes, And this is the ground control station. I think everybody has seen the movie Yuri. So in that Yuri, the person who actually controls the drone from the flight station, like we have the fighter pilots, which are on the ground duty also, which they manage the radars. So similarly, it is the GCS, like managing the radar and managing other things at the ground station. And this is the US operation in which we have the control and command communication. And yeah, so let us talk of some of the common US terms now. So the first thing is called autonomous. So autonomous means where the drone just detects and takes the instructions, and after that it requires no human control. So even if you buy the DJI Mavic Mini or DJI Mavic Mini 2 or Mavic 2, you will be surprised to note you just have to take a camera pic of yours, and after that you can just start riding. You can see the YouTube videos also, and the drone will start following you. So these type of things become autonomous. And altitude holding, like suppose if you just fly a plane and you can just stable over there in the, even in the 600 feet above there. So you can just take the photographs. It can have the altitude holding position now with the power of advanced algorithms, autonomous capabilities, and the power of deep learning with artificial intelligence. So return to home is one of the most important feature. If you're flying a drone and battery gets off and you don't know where the drone is, so just press one button, drone automatically comes at the place where it was starting the flight. And even you can have the manual control with your apps. And this is the geofence. So in the future, we can see the cricket matches and even other things that will be controlled with the GPS. So we have the high fly away protection. So if you have anything with regards to any detection like trees or traffic, they can detect that. So I just come to this one, visual tracking. This was the main thing I was telling you. So drone has tracked you, and after that it is following you. And after that, fail safe, which means even if you lost the controls or you are just going to have no control, so it can land the drone safely. Even though you have the loss of GPS signals, low battery, the drone will not happen, or drone will not get lost today. So this is the optical flow, which you can see right now. I'm going to show you one video, and this you can see that how with the power of deep learning algorithms, and most of the important company that is working today is NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is going to bless you with these type of things where the drones actually see with the computer vision as well as the radar and LiDAR technologies with sonar. So see this, everybody. This is how the drones are actually flying, and they are taking the decisions. If a car is coming, they will stand by, and after that they keep on flying. So this is called 3D mapping, and with the power of computer vision and with the power of deep learning and control theory, these drones can fly autonomously now. So you can say that the accuracy today is now touching almost 96%. So in the near future, by next 2 or 3 years, these accuracy will improve by almost 100%. So this, now see this, everybody, this is going to be an awesome video for all of you, how the drones are used for racing. And this is what the future is, the next hobby of the future. Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt. Your screen is not visible, sir.
So that's the problem with Google now.
Okay.
Please take it a care, please. I think one participant is spoiled in between. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. Now it's visible.
Was it visible from this side or from this side only?
No, I think in the middle, some of the participants are presented their screen.
Sir,
So that's what your screen is.
participants now. That's why I was telling you again and again, please.
Thank you.
So this you can see on YouTube also. So the question was that these drones is going to give you the better hobbies in the near future. So these are the drones that were actually autonomously flying and detecting each other. So this is how the autonomous capabilities come. So this is with the line of sight, straight line observing, and along with that we have the beyond line of sight communication. But the most important thing will be that if you're having a drone, so most of the governments, they already say, because like Indian government also says, even Vietnam government, I have registered my drone over there. So there is always a no-fly zone. We can't fly near the airport. So we just go outside of the city, because in Da Nang, we have the airport in the center. So we cannot fly nearby. And some public buildings or public places, they are not allowed to be covered. So the main thing is you have to follow the FAA norms and even by the government norms in order to register and fly the drones in that areas. So we have the air traffic controllers, like drones, we have the ground control stations. And now let us talk of the final thing for today. That will be Internet of Drone Things. Now, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to inform you. Actually, I am the person who actually coined this terminology and who actually designed this methodology for two case studies. And now I'm putting up more activity for this, that how we can have swarm Internet of Drone Things. That will be the most advanced concept in the world of drones that I'm going to coin, and already the research has already started. So what is the value of Internet of Drone Things that we have to see? Okay, because we say that drones have lots of applications. So why we have to fuse them with the power of IoT and cloud computing? So what is Internet of Things? First of all, I will be just giving you the brief. So this is known as the Gartner hype cycle for emerging technologies. You can see that the drones was the most important part in 2017, but by June 2019, the drones is now becoming as an evolutionary technology. So you can say that with the audience that is presenting, we have the potential of more than 50% improvement in the next 2 or 3 years. So in terms of improvement, you can see as per of drones as well of latest data, you can see the AI-based chips, the biochips, 5G, and even autonomous driving. So these technologies, everybody, they are going to improve the future like anything. And this is how IoT is evolving, because if you talk of any autonomous smart technology or intelligent communication, naturally that technology has to be the part of IoT. So now let us talk of Internet of Drone Things. This is what I have proposed, and you all are lucky that you are taking this type of lecture, because inventor can tell you lots of good things and how these things can be evolving by the near future. So if anybody is interested to collaborate with me in terms of drones, that how we can improve the drones, what new methodologies that can be there, so you are most welcome, and publications can be in high-end journals like that. So as per Gartner, first of all, let us introduce first of all, according to Gartner, 3 million drones were purchased in 2017, and this industry can touch by only this year, that is $11.2 billion. Now imagine everybody, the world market is becoming $11.2 billion today only, even though we have the problem of batteries, but imagine after 3 years. This industry can even touch, I can say, $7 to $8 trillion by 2025. We are expecting that, but it will happen. So drone technology, it requires the fusion of cloud computing, the fog computing, sensors today, big data, and above all, IoT. So if you combine these technologies, cloud computing, fog computing, intelligent sensors, big data, and IoT, you are actually evolving a new technology that is with drones, that is Internet of Drone Things. So IoDT technology, let me tell you, it is making the drones applicable not only to flying the cities or agriculture, you can even make them go for those areas where landslides are there, impossible areas where where like high altitudes where man cannot be there, or even underwater also. So today that was impossible to know, it becomes possible with the power of drones. So that's why everybody, I'm saying you, these drones will become a part and parcel for every tracking and every adventure by next 1 or 2 years by every person. So the technologies that are shaping IoT, that is actually for me is, according to me, is cloud computing. Because in the world of drones, if you're capturing the data, you are just taking on memory card, but gone were the days that it will memory card. All the drones will be actually connected to smart cloud stuff today, because the world is becoming hybrid cloud today. So cloud computing will have two types of approaches. One will be cloud-based IoT and second will be IoT-centric cloud. So in terms of IoT, cloud-based IoT, which means that clouds that can take the power of IoT to make them grow. But IoT-centric clouds, they require the acquired data to the ground stations so that they can eliminate latency, which means the communication between the drone and the ground stations will be so fast with the IoT-based drone that no latency, high traffic load, less hop count, and other things like overhead things, they will becoming zero. All the problems in terms of communication, they will be solved with this type of things, IoT-centric cloud. So if you're talking of research in IoT and cloud computing today, go for IoT-centric cloud. This is the modern research that you can do, and Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Oracle, these are the 4 top companies, and even IBM also, they are providing you lots of APIs and research platforms into their channels. So with fog computing, let me tell you, the most important thing is internet, because naturally, if you want to connect the drone to different technologies, you have to have the internet. So in order to sophisticate the drone, in order to handle these internet flaws, fog computing is required. So in that fog computing, with fog computing, IoT can handle all the issues with regard to QoS, real-time processing, even with remote areas. And you can say that with fog computing, drone applications can become better and better, which means the drones inbuilt will have computational intelligence capabilities. And with this, IoT will become low latency, performing tasks, services, and real-time analysis with no loss and no connectivity issues. That's why in the near future, everybody, there will be no loss of the drone, and drones can be remotely operated even at large distances when we will add LoRaWAN in that. So smart sensors can be, you can say any type of sensors like environmental sensor, or you can even go for like agriculture based sensors. So everything can be there. So the main thing is that IoT communication protocols that can be Z-Wave or Zigbee, but I have already told you, we are already working that we want to fuse them with LoRaWAN. Tomorrow I will be telling you about LoRaWAN. So what is LoRaWAN? It is called long range wireless access network. So with, I will be telling you tomorrow. So with LoRaWAN, you can access these drones to longer distances, which means the communication channels will become expanding and expanding. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, what is this, please?
Okay, I will clear, sir.
Why some participants are disturbing, I don't understand. So this is one of the IoT proposed. Can I continue, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. So this is one of the IoT proposed scenario that is actually proposed by me, that is Internet of Drone Things. You can see that these chips, these smart embedded chips will be connecting with everything, which means your accelerometers, microcontrollers, altitude and altitude, GPS, everything will be connected on these type of chips. And these chips will have no delay in terms of throughput, jitter or other things. And the drones will become completely mobile, which means your infrastructure, traffic facilities, and even agriculture, they can be all covered. But I'm going to tell you the case study. So now many people ask me, sir, what is the difference between UAVs and your proposed technology? Now let me give you what is the difference between IoT, because soon I'm going to propose my own drone that will be the first drone that will be IoT compatible. So UAVs, if you talk of flying ad hoc networks, so that is actually known as UAV, but in terms of IoT, you are actually adding IoT, cloud computing, sensors, fog computing, and even drones, which means the most advanced sophisticated technologies are connected to drones. UAVs, they are only possible in those areas which have strong connectivity, communication. But over there with fog and cloud computing, real-time operations and complex operations can be possible with limited or no connectivity also, which means rural areas can also be covered. No latest information is covered with UAVs, but we have fully updated information in short span of time. Cloud computing is not supported in today's drone, but with IoT, cloud computing will be fully supported. But you see over here, UAVs today, the only ground and the air is only communicated. But over here, let me tell you, IoT, we will take this technology to next level. Ground, air, and even underwater will be possible. Yes, it will be possible, everybody. So underwater drones like submarines, like submerged drones, they will be possible. And flying assistants, they are not very advanced, but they will be fully advanced. And even if you fly in an area which is even restricted, the drone will not even take off. So this is the predicted value of drones by the industry, which is you can see by infrastructure, agriculture, transport, insurance, and even telecommunications, mining, everything. So these type of things, everybody. So what is insurance? Insurance means that even you have to go for insurance of your drones. Yes, drones will be insured because suppose if you're buying a drone of 3 to 4 lakh rupees, it needs to be insured like your car. So the insurance industry of the drones will also be improving like anything. So this is one of my scenarios that is being proposed, and in rest you can read the paper, how this IoT concept can be in smart agriculture. Now see this, everybody. This is the proposed scenario that you can see. So only the farmer is sitting in the home and it is using like a mobile phone or just a simple desktop app. We just need to just educate the farmer to some applications only. But even tomorrow I will be showing you about LoRaWAN, so that LoRaWAN you will be stunned to note, you will all say that sir, in agriculture and in the large fields where farmer is not even compatible to go to end, where monitoring can be low by the farmer, LoRaWAN is required. So you can say drones are actually doing the monitoring of all the activities, all the cows, everything. Livestock is connected with smart sensors, and even we have the fleet of agribots and smart tractors. So if you talk of all these things at the ground, everything can be monitored by the drone, and the whole field is becoming the smart farm of the future. So by 2024, I'm expecting to get this farm a reality, and even we are working strongly in terms of drones and LoRaWAN to make this possible here. And this is what we can say in terms of smart cities. You can see this is the proposed scenario again. So you can see the UAVs are connected, and again the internet is just a middleware, but the backend is the cloud only. So the drones can do all the monitorings with the smart cars, with the smart traffic lighting, even the smart cities, even accident detection, crime detection, buildings, everything will be connected with the power of UAVs. So with this type of things, everybody, your future cities and future farms will have a bright future. But even we can implement in IoT in the border areas where we can detect that what enemy is doing or any intrusion is happening or not. So these type of things will be possible. So IoT is actually a technology that is actually required by India, especially for defense purposes, for the border region surveillance and monitoring operations. So let's visualize the future, everybody. So what will be the IoT in the near future? So let us first of all talk of this thing. If you have about $75,000 US, you can buy this drone flying car. So there is no control. You just have to sit and the drone will automatically fly, and it will sense the environment and you can fly there. But the most important thing is India is having less connectivity. We don't have any 5G or even 4G is not working. So these drones will not be possible till 2032. So again, you can see this is called an underwater drone, and this is the first activated prototype, and high-end photography with RED cameras. This is possible today. And advanced military tactics, again by USA, Germany, France, China, they all have this type of drones. But right now, Indian military is lagging with this type of technology. So in the future, Domino's is also planning by this year only to deliver the pizza to your home with drones, and Amazon already it is delivering the packages. And see this, everybody, IoT in real world. So this is where we can say the Pyeongchang Games, Intel 500 drones, again autonomous, but next year with Tokyo 2021 Olympics, we can expect the drones-based photography and drones-based coverage. And if you want to buy a drone, so this is from DJI 3D Robotics. GoPro is also coming with the drones, Trimble, and this is one of the most important companies, Aeromax. Very good company, I can say. So online resources can be from here. And if you want to contact me, I will be giving you my contact just right now on the YouTube. So this is what we can have to attend the lecture today. So tomorrow I will be giving you the lecture on LoRaWAN. So now if there is any question, the questions are please welcome. Thank you so much. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. The presentation is done. So now the house is open for next 15-20 minutes for the question answer session.
Yes, sir. Yes. Participants, any query, please post in the chat.
Please, I request you, please don't put these questions of feedback. Feedback, please be in contact with the person. So please don't waste your time on this one. So please put the questions.
Participants, do you have any queries? Please post in chat box immediately.
Excuse me, sir. Actually, we saw one question on YouTube stream. It was asked by Cynthia L.
Yeah,
So she
sure.
is asking, is there any exclusive drone-based research centers owned by Indian government?
Right now, not as in front of my eyes, but even if they have, maybe it is in DRDO where some branches are there. But DRDO can be the best agency that is doing some research on drones. But still, we require some autonomous agency that can do some drone research. Like you can see in China and USA, they have autonomous agencies. Now they have the separate segregated departments for drones. So DRDO may be the choice for her.
Okay, sir. There was another question asked by Keshav Mishra. He asked what's the difference between or something what's about F-22 and MQ-9?
What, sir?
What about F-22 and MQ-9? He didn't explain it in
F-22 is a fighter jet which is regarded as the most advanced fighter jet in the world by USA, and it is having the, you can say, Mach 10 speed, and it is not having like autonomous capabilities, but it is the most advanced fighter jet in the world, followed by F-35. But MQ-9, you can just write to me, because MQ-9, I don't do my research over MQ-9s, but MQ-9s will be the future. So right now we cannot say more. But this is a out of the bound question, because I'm talking of drones and the person is talking of the fighter planes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So some person is asking you, sir, do you collaborate with researchers of other fields to develop? Yes, I do collaborate. Do you write to me? No problems. So what are the challenges faced by people using drone? Is there any drawbacks? So the main thing is that you must have some experience in order to fly the drone, because if you don't handle the drone carefully, maybe the motors will be gone and you have to spend lots of money in order to get the drone okay. So in terms of challenges, so the most important challenge I've already told you, that even though you buy the most expensive drone, the challenge is the battery. Yeah, drone racing, it is different. So it is like a passion. It's like a hobby. So if suppose you are also a drone pilot, I'm also a drone pilot, we can have a good field. We can do some you can say some obstacles, etc. And we try to find the drones that who is the best pilot. So it is like a racing cars competition. Like you can see the RC cars also. So they also have the cars based competition like that. So similarly, you can have the drone based competition. Any other question, please? Yeah, MQ-9 is also a drone, but I'm not working on that. So I was telling you that the drones are basically having these type of law of physics. So in that law of physics, we have to derive these law of physics with the mathematical models. And in order to formulate these mathematical models, we have control theory as well as algorithms. So if you combine this control theory and algorithms, you can say complex deep learning and machine learning algorithms, you are actually making these drones to become autonomous in nature. So the only thing that is working today, that you are working on mathematical models, algorithms, and the most important thing is control theory. Even I'm going to give one lecture on control theory. So if you are interested, you can just mail me up and I will give you the link soon. Okay, so there is one question which is coming. So, sir, too expensive to operate drones by former because controllers, battery were expensive. How the former use it? So I've already told you that the drones technology is right now very expensive in terms of motors. And even let me tell you, like if you want to buy the remote control, so even that control is also very expensive. So you have to, you have to buy the complete kit, or either you can purchase your own DAW equipments, which I've already told you in the presentation for that. Yeah, actually, Mr. Deepak Gowda, I'm again telling you that this was again a very good named scientist, Mr. Pratap. He made the drone even from these reusable materials. Again, this drone is very good, and even this drone can even do the detection of bombs and even the mines. So this is again a good innovation, but the main thing is that the applications need to be designed more in terms of smart cities and defense, especially defense, I'm saying you. So that was the right direction by him. So maybe this drone can be used by the military in the near future for detecting these surveillance areas where we can do some cyber missions like warfare missions like all that. Any other questions, sir?
Thank you, sir. We had a very grateful session. Monish, you can conclude.
Okay, thanks for everyone participating here. And also thank you, Dr. Anand Nair, sir. It was a great presentation. And being a sophomore in college, I got to learn so many things about IODPO technology and also drones in general. I'm very much excited for tomorrow's session on LoRaWAN. And also I'm hoping to see in further sessions apart from today, sir. So thank you so much for being
Yeah,
present.
before we wind up, sir, I'm going to inform all of you, all the participants who are listening to me, that tomorrow's lecture, the LoRaWAN technology, I'm not going to give you, going to give you some more insights on that, but I'm going to share one thing important for tomorrow, that tomorrow's lecture is going to be the most powerful lecture in the history of your career.
Yeah, okay, so we are
Thank you,
very much
sir. We
excited.
appreciate, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir. Can we stop the presentation now? Excuse me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dear participants, please, tomorrow also, sir, session is there.
Yeah,
All of you join in
I
time.
just give my email right now. I just give my email right now.
Yes.
So here is my email, everybody. And if you want to be in touch with me on WhatsApp, so only WhatsApp is available. Only WhatsApp, please. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. We will meet tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.